Hey guys, welcome into the Stinkin podcast alongside Mike Evans. I am Mark Schlereth. Thank you so much for subscribing, helping us grow the podcast. Mike, how are you, buddy?
I'm great. All right, you got to tell me about the shirt. I love this shirt.
Is this unbelievable? I mean, this is a great shirt. One of our wonderful listeners. Give me a single on that, Ty, will you? Look at this. Lawn and Order Special Mowing Unit.
Oh, that is so cool.
How good is that? One of our listeners, Armando Rivas, sent this to me, or as I like to say, Armando Rivas.
Oh, my God. You can roll your R's.
Everybody can roll their R's.
I can't roll my R's.
What do you mean you can't roll your R's?
Nope. Can't do it.
You cannot be serious.
I can't do it.
How have I known you for... Gosh, how many years?
9 years?
Well, we've been working together for 9 years, but I've known you longer than that. And I didn't know you can't
do it. Nope.
Do that.
Nope, I can't do it. I'm not even going to embarrass.
Come on.
I'm not going to embarrass myself by trying.
Are you serious?
I can't do it.
Do it. Just go. All you got to do is go like this with your tongue and then go like you just.
I can't do it.
What a loser. I can't. You really can't do that?
I can't do it. Nope.
What are you trying to go? Man, you're pathetic.
If only I knew how to use my tongue.
Yes. Anyhow, by the way, thank you, Armando. And anybody else would like to send me a T-shirt, please feel free.
I want one, Armando.
Oh, that is...
Come on. I'm a lawn guy, too. Not as good as you. All right. But I still take it seriously.
Okay,
I would love Armando.
Yeah. That's
Armando.
You almost got it.
No,
you were close.
That was more of a gurgle.
You were this close.
No, I wasn't.
This is you down here, over here. This is you. This is you. That you weren't really that close.
All right, not even close.
Sorry. Yeah, cool. Thank you for the shirt, Armando.
Very cool.
I appreciate that.
I'll tell you what else is also cool. It's cool to be our Aidan Hutchinson.
Oh my gosh!
So he gets a new contract, 4 years. You know, basically it's like 140 million guaranteed. And it's amazing when you look at, well, let's talk about Aidan Hutchinson first. Let's give him his just due all alone in the spotlight. What makes this guy so special?
He's unrelenting. His effort is unrelenting. I mean, the guy is amazing off the ball. Like one of the things I always studied when I was a player is I would always make our film guys get me sideline tape. And you don't watch, as an offensive lineman, you don't watch sideline tape. You watch end zone tape, right? You watch it from the butts of the offensive line or the butts of the defenders, right? And you're watching that box from tight end to ghost tight end, that front seven. That's what you're looking at, right? What line? I mean, are they in an over front? Are they in a 57, a 25? Are they a 4 down? Are they a 3 down? Or are they in a 4-3 even front? Does the guy play a 2 shade or a 3 shade? Like all these different things that you look at. How do they stack the linebackers? Do they shift the linebackers? Do they boss them over when they're coming down strong or they're coming down weak? Like all these different things that you look at and that you're taking in information on how I'm going to block this and the path I want to take and stuff like that. And the thing I would always do is to go, give me some sideline tape this week. I just want 2 quarters of sideline tape. And I would always look, 2 things I would look at on sideline tape. What is the depth of guys that line up? Because you can't really see that on end zone copy. But on sideline tape, you can see, hey, man, this defensive tackle's up. The defensive end is back. What's that mean? They're going to run some type of game, right? They're going to run pinch the defensive tackle, loop the defensive end, vice versa. Hey, that defensive tackle, you see him back. Defensive end's really crowding the ball. Now, all of a sudden, he's going to pinch. The tackle's going to loop around. So you can pick that stuff up on sideline copy. That's really the only place you can see depth of stance or depth of lineup. And then the other thing is, and this is just apparent. First guy off the ball. Show me the dude who's first off the ball. I'll show you the dude who's the best player on their team. And Aidan Hutchinson, whoom, off the snap count, out of his stance. And so those guys become the most disruptive guys. They're just really hard to contend with. And I always wanted to see that stuff. So that's the start of it. But I think, I think Detroit intrigues me Because there's nobody in the nation that hates Detroit.
Nobody.
Like there are plenty of us that hate Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
There are plenty of us that hate other teams like Philly. There are plenty of there's a lot of people who hate certain teams based on the success they've had.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody hates Detroit.
Nobody.
Like everybody is rooting for Detroit.
Kind of like Buffalo.
Yeah.
If we had a Detroit-Buffalo Super Bowl,
There's no losers.
There'd be no losers.
There is no losers. Buffalo would lose, but there's no losers because that's what they do in the Super Bowl. But you know what I'm saying, right?
Too soon?
No, is that hurt a little bit? I'm one of those guys that put that ass whooping on you guys in Buffalo. But one of the things about Detroit that I think is so cool is obviously because they haven't had success, kind of everybody's a pseudo Detroit fan. Mm-hmm. But the way they've been built, you talk about Aidan Hutchinson, then you talk about Decker, then you talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you talk about all the different dudes that they have signed to long-term deals, the guys they draft, but more importantly, not only drafting the guys, and you can talk about Brad Holmes, their general manager. You talk about Dan Campbell and how important that is. Chris Spielman's part of the organization now again. But it's drafting the right guys, but more importantly, developing those guys. Mm-hmm. How many people criticized the Detroit Lions when they took Jahmyr Gibbs with the 10th overall pick or whatever it was? Oh, you don't draft a running back that high. What are you guys doing? And there was this kind of almost public outcry about managing the draft and how you don't take it back that high and what are they doing? How dynamic is that guy? How good is that guy?
Is Detroit, because I look at Kansas City, and Kansas City was already a pretty good team. I mean, they were 12-14 before they got Patrick Mahomes to take over.
Correct.
They were all pretty good. Philadelphia's been pretty good for a while.
Yeah.
Okay. But is Detroit the model if you are just a crappy franchise? If you're trying to build something from the ground up, is Detroit right now the best model in football?
Oh yeah, if they're not, they're right there. Mm-hmm. I mean, and again, it comes down to, I think the draft is interesting to me, Mike, because there's a lot of teams that just draft height, weight, speed. Whoever is the highest ranked guy based upon where they draft, or they draft and they chase position of need. And so they take a dude at 12 overall that probably shouldn't be drafted until 31st overall, but they got to have that position filled. And the good teams, I think, do a really good job of kind of, one, having an identity of what kind of player they want at each position. So it's not just, man, we need a receiver. And then you're playing receiver roulette. Anyone that pops up is good enough for us. I want the right kind of receiver. I want a guy on tape that shows up and he'll block. Like one of the things that nobody talks about with Amon-Ra St. Brown, watch that dude run option routes, watch that dude run in the slot, but watch that dude pick off nickel defenders, pick off linebackers like it's his job. Going in there and mixing it up, setting a tone. Like I need those type of players at that position if we're going to be successful. And then you look at them, Penei Sewell, you look at the guys they take. And Dan Campbell, if he was sitting on this podcast right now, would tell you point blank, without equivocation, that Penei Sewell is the best football player on our team. Forget about offensive linemen. Forget about our quarterback. Forget about our wide receivers. Forget about our running back. Penei Sewell is the best player on our football team. And so they do that. And then I think the dirty little secret about the NFL that people don't really realize is, one, you got to pick for guys that fit what you're doing, right? That's one. And then develop those guys. The development of those guys to make sure they can have success. Look what Sam Laporta has done for them. Like every guy, it seems like that they take is unbelievably productive. And then they made the shrewd move of going, Matthew Stafford, you can leave. We're going to bring in Jared Goff, and people were like, "Oh man, it's a really, you're really stepping it down." But then they pick up with those draft picks. They pick up guys like Jahmyr Gibbs. They pick up guys like a litany of 3 or 4 different guys that they drafted who have been unbelievably productive. I think Gibbs was in that. I think maybe Amon-Ra St. Brown was in. I don't know. I'm not sure. I know there was 3 guys drafted that are all really productive guys based off that trade alone.
And the other thing too is the Dan Campbell effect. I mean, for a guy that was, and I'll admit, hand raised, when he did the whole introductory press conference and biting kneecaps and everything like that, I'm like, what? Who's this meathead?
Right.
But man, not only is he a hell of a coach, a smart coach, but he's really brought that identity that you're talking about. Tough football players, receivers who block, build from the line of scrimmage, and you can't look at who Dan Campbell is and then look at the Lions and not see a direct cause effect here. I mean, this is not a coincidence.
Yeah, Dan Campbell plays the role of meathead well, but he's a really smart dude.
Yes.
When I was consulting years ago for the Saints, when they brought me in, and it was Dan Rauscher was their offensive line coach who brought me in there and sat down for a couple of days and just kind of went through things. And it was just me and the O-line coach, and he was kind of the run game coordinator. And the OCs didn't, nobody else showed up. Sean Payton didn't show up. It was just me and Dan Rauscher and the assistant O-line coach. We're just kind of hanging out, chopping it up. But there was one guy within that organization that showed up to every meeting and just sat there for 10 hours when we're going through stuff. Want to venture a guess who it was?
Mickey Loomis?
No, Dan Campbell.
Oh, was it?
He was tight ends coach.
No kidding.
Yep.
Oh, that's a cool story.
Yeah, and Dan said, like, hey, man, I want to learn what, I want to just hear what you have to say about. So we're going through like, okay, you got 18 handoff, you got a bubble guard, meaning you're not covered. Like, you got a bubble guard and a 5 technique. You got 18 handoff with a 4-eye technique. You got 18 handoff with a 3 technique, a 2 technique, a 2-eye technique, a 1 technique. How you like all these different things, right? That you're going through, and you're going through every scheme. And Rauscher had all the film set up, so it was like, all right, here's like 2 techniques. We're running this play, and we went through everything. Like we went through 14, 15 handoff, 18, 19 handoff. Then we went through, the trap game and the counter game.
I remember when you were going down there, you showed me the list, your prep list of all the different, and I'm like,
all the things they want to talk about.
There's this many offensive lineman plays out there.
Right.
I mean, it was insane.
You think about it when you sit in you walk up to the huddle, right, and you have a play called. Well, there's a different footwork and different hat placement and everything on everything that you do. Mm-hmm. So if I get a 3 technique, am my center coming over and working with me, or am I singled up on that? If I get a 2 technique, is center working with me, or am I singled up? A 2-eye, center coming over. If he's got a backside 1 technique, is he working with the backside guard? Is he like so? And then every time you move, well, now all of a sudden I went from a 3 technique outside shoulder to a 2 technique head up. Well, I got to change my footwork a little bit, right? Because here I got to take a step toward and out. Here I just want to work up, And so then you start thinking about there's all these different plays with all these different defensive lineman positions and linebacker positions. And hey, man, as safety rolls down, are we pushing to him, or do we turn him over to the slot receiver on that side? And do we take the first guy? The number 1 guy. And so then you start thinking like, okay, if it's nickel run, we don't have somebody to take that. Now I got to push to the safety who comes down and turn that guy that's head up over me. I got to turn him over to the backside.
Right. Okay, offensive line is very complicated. Fine. Yeah.
But you think about this, Mike. You walk up to the line of scrimmage, and you're in the middle of a cadence.
Yeah.
Blue 80, blue 80. And all of a sudden guy shifts, and he goes from, a 3 technique to a 2 technique, or a 2-eye, or to what, and the whole defense shifts. Everything changes right now. What you're supposed to do, and then set it, and you're off and running.
Right.
And you've got to change the schematics of that play in your freaking head while you're in the middle of a cadence.
And Dan Campbell wanted to learn all about this.
And Dan Campbell sat there for 10 hours. 10 hours. Yeah, thanks for circling back in because I got
You get.
I get into this.
I know you're
line
like you
coach.
started to sweat. You know,
Dude, it
your
was like-
your eyes got kind of
He's
glazed
like,
over.
is that door shut? Don't come in here. Don't come in here. Woo. Yeah, I got a
I'm
little-
like, am I going to see something I don't want to, that you don't want to see?
Say hello to my little friend.
Roll those R's. All right. So yeah.
So Dan Campbell is like he's super smart. He really knows what he's doing, and he's just built an unbelievable culture. Like you walk into that building pre Dan Campbell, and it was like walking into a morgue.
Mm-hmm.
You walk in post Dan Campbell, and that place is like it's like Katrina and the Waves. You're walking in sunshine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, look it up.
Okay, sorry.
Speaking of good culture,
80s.
John Harbaugh's built a culture of excellence in Baltimore, but let's face it, it's been sorely tested over the last couple of weeks. Lamar Jackson set to make his return, and he's setting the right tone. He's come out. He said, "Look, we are in must-win mode now, moving forward. We can't afford any slip-ups." It's fascinating because here they are sitting there with 2-6, and they might be the most dangerous team in the AFC right now, other than Kansas City, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, they're dangerous. Everyone looks at Baltimore as being potentially dangerous with the return of Lamar Jackson. Do you see that, or are there some other flaws with this Baltimore team that goes beyond just simply the absence of Lamar?
Yeah, no, they had injury, man. They had a ton of injuries, offensively, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So Lamar comes back. If Lamar is Lamar and he's healthy, and they get their players back, they won last week. They beat up on Chicago. They're going to get their players back. Listen, man, there was a reason that myself and a lot of other people thought they'd represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. And, they've taken it on the chin. At one point, I think they had 7 or 8 starters out.
Yep.
I mean, there's a reason there are guys that start in the league and there's guys that back up in the league, and the backups just aren't as good. So, I mean, that you lose 3 or 4 or 5 prominent players. They lost 7 or 8. You lose 3 or 4 prominent players on any side of the ball. It's hard to overcome, Mike. It's really hard.
They're 2-5, but they're only 2 games behind Pittsburgh.
Well, come on. Cincinnati ain't going anywhere, right? And the Cleveland Browns are not very good. And Pittsburgh, let's face it, Pittsburgh is like we thought. I think Pittsburgh, you know what I would call Pittsburgh, maybe, Mike? Maybe you've heard this term before. Maybe you haven't.
I know what you're going to say.
Paper tiger. Yeah. They might be a little bit of a paper tiger.
The Steelers might be the exception to the old Bill Parcells bromide there, that you are what your record says you are.
Yeah, that's such a garbage. That's a bad.
Oh, you really want to question the Big Tuna?
Yeah, because it's not true.
It's not true?
There are plenty of teams that win games. But they haven't faced anybody. It's kind of like we talked about this on our show. The Denver Broncos go out and hang 44 points on the Dallas Cowboys, and they are sharp as a tack on the offensive side of the ball, and you're like, man, they figured it out. And then you're going, well, they did play Dallas, which is kind of a JV team on the defensive side of the ball. Yeah. So they executed well. I'm not taking anything away from Denver, but come on, right? They're not very good. So there are teams that go in, like the Chargers last year were 11-6, had a good year. Did anybody think they were going to win a playoff game?
Yes.
No.
Yes. Oh, come on.
Paper tigers.
They were going into Houston.
Dude, you say it all the time. You say, until Justin Herbert he's not elite until he wins in a playoff game.
I made the mistake of putting faith in him last year. I thought this was his breakthrough time, and he spit the bit again.
Yeah, see, that's that. So you're not what your record says you are. Occasionally. Right?
Let's not get in.
Semantics.
We wore our radio audience out on that one. Let's move on to other stuff. How about Zack Taylor? You want to kind of set this one up a little bit?
Wow. Did you see his press conference after they gave up 14 points in the fourth quarter to the lowly Jets?
They gave up 39 and lost. They put up 38 with Joe Flacco and lost.
Right. And the Jets have not, up to this point, been worth a squirt of piss offensively. And they hang 39 on the Bengals. And he started off his press conference. Did you see his press conference? He started off fairly calm. Like, we got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, we got to this, that, and the other. It started with we, and it ended up with they. Because it started off with we got to figure it out, and we got to be better, and we got to, attention to detail, and somebody on our defense needs to stand up and make a play. Somebody, and I was like, oh shoot, that escalated quickly, right? And it was one of those things you could feel the pressure, right?
Yeah.
You could feel the pressure cooker is on right now because why? Because all of a sudden, you made a choice last year. You had a sacrificial lamb. Lou Anarumo, who happens to be coordinating the Indianapolis Colts, and they've been pretty damn good at 7-1 right now. Mm-hmm. So Lou is a really good defensive coach. Lou is not good. He's a great defensive coach, but he was the sacrificial lamb last year, right? And now you're right back to pointing the finger at the defense, and this just feels to me like your time is short. Like
Taylor's.
The seat is getting hot. I said this on my canceled television show, and the guys that I did my canceled television show with, I blame them. They couldn't comprehend my football intelligence.
Correct.
And so they had lost a game, Cincinnati being they, had lost a game to Washington in, I don't know, it was like week 4. It was a night game, and it was like a shootout. I don't know what the score, 35-38, 36-38, whatever it was, right? And I had to come on television the next day going, man, they're complaining about Cincinnati's defense. And my counter to that was like, you knew your defense sucked. Like, why are you not possessing the ball? Why are you not running the football? Why are you not eating up some time of possession so your defense doesn't have to for you to win game? It's not about outscore. It's not about scoring more. Their offensive coordinator came out this year in the offseason and said, yeah, we're just going to have to outscore people. How'd that work for you last year? You can't just outscore people. So one of the things you have to do is you got to figure out how we're going to win a football game. Not how we're going to hang 38 points on somebody. How are we going to freaking win a football game? Because obviously you can hang 38 and still lose, right? You just proved that. And you proved that in Washington the year before. So then it becomes like, hey, man, we know that the defense is weak. How do we support the defense? How do we keep them as fresh as possible? How do we keep them off the football field? How do we possess the ball? How do we run it? How do we keep our quarterback healthy when we're not a great protection team? And you don't answer any of those questions. You just keep going out in shotgun and saying, let's throw the ball. Oh, because why? Because we got receivers. We got receivers.
We paid those receivers.
So we're gonna operate this way, dude. You're just gonna lose. That is so, like, everybody talks about complimentary football, but it does mean something, right? And so if you know you have a weakness exposed, you got to cover that weakness up.
Yeah,
it's like walking around like with a big sore on your arm, right? And you don't cover it up. And so you're always catching yourself. You wake up in the morning, you got blood all over your sheets and your arm's stuck to the sheet, and you wake up and you're in the middle of the night and you're doing that, right? You got to cover it.
That happens to you.
You ever have like an itchy spot?
Yeah, but not like a open
gaping wound? No.
Weeping sore.
Because I cover it.
Well, okay.
You cover your weeping. Like,
well, who's got weeping sores?
I've had a lot of surgery, Mike.
Okay.
I've had a lot.
I got you. I got you. Okay.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you've got
yeah, you cover it up.
You cover it. You try to cover it up as best you can.
Right.
Not just ignore it.
Right.
And go, well, I'll focus on this instead. Right. And you ignore it.
Well, the bad news is in Cincinnati, when Zack Taylor starts talking about how they need to make a play,
somebody over there needs to show some leadership. Somebody on the defensive side needs to make a play, show some leadership. So, rise to the occasion.
Yeah, when the head coach is,
that means you are about ready to get shown the door.
Yeah. We'll get to question Mark, some of your questions for Mark here in just a second. Well, undeniably, one of the cooler, fun stories of this first part of the season was what the Giants had going with Cam Scataboo, right?
yeah.
I mean, we all kind of fell in love with Cam Scataboo during the college football season last year in Arizona State and their run. And it was like, there was the draftniks got into a big heated debate about what kind of player he'd be in the NFL and whether or not you should draft him. But he was fantastic. And to see that injury, it was like, your ankle's not supposed to go that way.
Yeah,
the good news is...
I didn't look at it.
I know you don't look at that. You have a very sensitive stomach. The good news is it's supposed to be a pretty straightforward recovery, and he should be back 100% next year. But that's a tough break, I think, certainly for the Giants, but Giant fans. But really, I think all of football was really enjoying the Cam Scataboo story.
100%, because Cam Scataboo is one of us.
Yeah.
Like Cam is like, he's not that height, weight, speed guy.
Right.
He doesn't check the boxes.
Right.
But then he just goes out, and his enthusiasm, the way he plays the game, it is all like he is 100% in, and it's infectious, man. And watching him do what he did over the course of the time that he got to play, man, knocking people around, running his ass off, trying to run people over, picking up blitzes, doing all this stuff. He and Jackson Dart, they reinvigorated a franchise. And frankly, I think they probably saved, jobs over there with the New York Giants. And you look at that excitement, that enthusiasm, that toughness, and we're all looking at him like, man, I'll tell you what, that guy's not, he's not the prototypical NFL running back. He doesn't have the speed, size, strength,
whatever. I hadn't hurt my knee in high school. I could have been him.
But you look at him, and man, it resonates with him because we love that, that he's like Rocky Balboa.
Yeah.
Like he is that ultimate underdog story that's overcome, and he's done that. And then you see the story about, because he hurt himself in Philly. You see the story, he's in Philly, he had the surgery or whatever.
Yeah.
Big Dom. You know who Big Dom is?
Okay, who's Big Dom? Is that the guy that got into trouble during an Eagles game for yelling at another coach or something like that?
Big Dom.
Who's Big Dom? What does he do?
He does it all. Big Dom, whatever you need done, Big Dom can do.
Oh.
Yeah, like he's your sideline get back coach.
Yeah.
He does the get back, and gets everybody back.
Yeah.
If you need, somebody to cuss out a referee, like Big Dom will step in there and get that done.
Right.
Like Big Dom is the equivalent in Philadelphia of like a made-for-TV lawyer. Like you got an issue, call Big Dom, Right.
Yeah.
Whenever they say, you remember the kids show, the Bloodhound Gang? Whenever there's trouble, we're there on the double with the the Bloodhound Gang. We're the Bloodhound Gang, And Big Dom is like the Bloodhound Gang. He's like, what do you need? Big Dom will get it for you.
So he's like the Philly fixer.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, exactly. You need your truck lifted? Big Dom's got a guy.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I got a guy.
You want new tires and wheels?
Yeah.
Big Dom's got a guy.
So he dropped. He went and visited Scataboo
in the hospital
with like burgers and
like pizza and wings and maybe like Philly cheesesteak.
Yeah.
He went and fed Cam Scataboo. Because he's Big Dom.
Right. I love it.
Yeah, Big Dom is the goods, man. I love Big Dom.
Well, we wish a very speedy recovery to Cam Scataboo.
Yeah.
Let's get to some of these questions for you from our great viewers out there.
Sounds like a plan.
This is from Corey Wishnia, who asked, do you think Brian Dable will be back next year as the Giants coach?
I just talked about it. I do. I do think so. And this is one of the reasons I said from day one they should dump Russ and they should play Jackson Dart. Because if Jackson Dart plays well, you ultimately save your job. And people are like, no, you got to play Russ because Russ gives you the best chance to win. I go, it's not about that. It's about developing a quarterback. You know what owners like. They like to see young quarterbacks who you have faith in, that you believe can take you to the promised land, and that inject excitement into the fan base. Jackson Dart has done that. I mean, he has done that in spades, right? I mean, he has been unbelievable what he's been able to do. And so the one thing you don't want to do is start over now. Mm-hmm. You see the young kid, he's having some success. There's some connection between he and the coach, and they're building an offense around him. You don't want to stop down and say, all right, let's go get the next Joe Judge or the whatever, right? You don't want that. So yeah, I think he has saved his job.
All right, this one's from Travis, who asks, "Hey Mark, why is it that Bo Nix is never getting talked about like Jaden Daniels or Drake May as being the top quarterback from last year's class?"
It's a great question. I think part of it is because of where the Broncos are time-wise, the time zone, where they play. Right.
Yeah.
And they're not on the East Coast, so there's net East Coast bias and all that kind of stuff. But now you got to look at what Drake May is doing, pushing the ball deep, and like his stats are off the chain. And it's not just good enough to talk about Drake May as one of the best young quarterbacks in football. He's just one of the best quarterbacks right now in football. And he's got so much room for growth. We talked about on the Leftovers podcast, talking to Josh McDaniels, the offense coordinator, about that, his growth potential, because he's really just focused on half-field reads. He's looking at the front side. He's going 1 to 2 to take off, 1 to 2. And Josh is like, man, when I get him to 1 to 2, and he does it occasionally. It's not all the time, but when I can get him to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, like sky's going to be the limit. And we're going to take some hits off him and stuff, but he is playing exceptional. And there's nobody right now turning the ball over, throwing a better deep ball on target, on time, on target than Drake May. So he has been great. But Bo's been exceptional. I mean, he's been exceptional. And it's not only not taking sacks, it's not really turning the ball over very often. And against Dallas, you can say what you want, but against Dallas, man, he had the deep ball going. That was the one part of his game this year that has not been there. He had that going. And he just keeps kind of, steadily climbing. It'll be interesting to see how he's talked about come December, after this month of November is over, where he's going to be talked about.
All right, so you got to hitch your future, your fortunes to Jaden Daniels, Drake May, or Bo Nix moving forward. Who are you going with?
I'm probably going to go with Drake May.
Okay.
Followed by Bo Nix, then to Jaden.
Okay.
And I there's no wrong answer because I think they're all really good.
Right. And I'm really kind of getting you down to brass tacks here, but
I Jaden is a very slight guy, and he runs quite a bit. And I don't know. I mean, I think they're all really good, but Drake May right now is playing the best football.
All right, one more for you. This is from me at ePointerDog, who asks, and he's not the only one, or she's not the only one, Mark, why do so many people feel the NFL is rigged?
Probably because of the Chiefs and the way they get every freaking call, and it just is annoying, and that probably has a lot to do with it. No, in all seriousness, I just think that I mean, if it was, I will just tell you this: if the NFL was rigged, I would have spent a lot less time on an operating table. It's not. Now I think there are certain players that get the benefit of the doubt. Like, I think if Patrick Mahomes whines for a flag, he's going to get it.
Right.
If Bo Nix whines for the exact same flag, he's not going to get it. But that's sports.
Right.
You look at the NBA, man. There are guys. If LeBron James flops, he's getting the whistle.
Right.
It's just the way it is. And so some stars get star preferential treatment, and so there are some of those things that are inconsistent. I just think the officiating, I think it's really hard. I don't think we've done officials, I don't think we've done them any good when it comes to just what we're asking them to do. And then part of the other thing was make sure you swallow your whistle and let the instant replay, figure it out.
I just also think, if I could weigh in on it, you've had how many thousands of people who've played in the NFL? How many hundreds of people who've been coaches and front office types? I mean, either you got the most ironclad NDAs out there that you're all signed, that you're all keeping secret. You're telling me if it was rigged, it wouldn't have come out by now? Somebody wouldn't have done some tell-all or something like that? Come on.
It's trust me, it's not rigged. Just not. Hey, for everybody involved in the Stink Truth podcast, Armando, thank you, buddy. Roll your R real quick.
No.
Just roll your R real quick. Just
I'm
for
not
me.
doing it.
Just try it one time for me.
All right.
Armando.
That wasn't bad. That was not bad.
Really? That's actually probably the best I've ever done it.
That's just sounded like a lot of spit in your mouth.
Exactly. It's like gurgling.
Armando.
Oh, God.
Hey, thank you so
that's
much for
hot.
making.
That's hot.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
not going to lie. That's hot.
That is hot. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. We'll be back with you guys to break down the games. And Mike and I are both 12-12 right now on our moneymaker picks. So go
shockingly
opposite.
mediocre.
We're going to start over. We're starting
Brand new
anew.
season.
This comes Friday. So make sure you're here right here on the Stinkin' Truth Podcast.